How many ways are there to make your drawing look 3D? 1, 2, 4?
Here I come.
No, so don't miss this video. Hi guys, my name is Melvin, and today we're going to explore 5 ways to make your drawings look more 3D. The more 3D your designs are, the more realistic and professional they'll look. We've already covered one of these techniques on your channel before, that is perspective. But today we'll go over it again and dive into the other 4 tips to really nail that 3D look. So grab your pencils, get comfortable, and let's get started. All right, let's kick things off by introducing our 5 cards. We've got card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4, and finally card 5, which is super important, so stick around till the end to find out what it is. Now let's focus on card 1, the one we're starting with. What is this card? It's called the increase or decrease card. Take a moment to look at the screen, because I'm about to draw something really important to explain this concept. Let's dive in. All right, so here we have a hand, right? Now imagine we draw another hand, exactly the same size, just to compare them. So, take a look at these 2 hands. The key here is how we use the first hand we drew. What happens if we make one of the hands bigger? Yep, the bigger hand looks like it's closer to you, right? Of course it does. Now, what if we shrink one of the hands? The smaller hand will look farther away, right? That's the trick. By changing the size of things we draw, we can make them appear closer or farther away, even though we're just working on a flat piece of paper. This technique is all about creating depth in our drawings, and it's called increase or decrease. Now let's move on to the next tip. All right, so out of the 5 playing cards we've got, we've already covered the first one. Now it's time to move on to the second card, which we call perspective. Yup, like I mentioned earlier, one of our cards is perspective, and if you've been following the channel, we've already done a bunch of videos about it. But how exactly do we use this card? Let's break it down. Take a look at this 3D building. See how 3D it looks? Pretty cool, right? Now, if we follow its lines, they all lead to a single point. This is called the vanishing point, or what we know as one-point perspective. You can do the same. Just draw a square or any other shape, then connect the edges to a vanishing point. From there, decide how deep you want the shape to go, and cut the lines wherever you want to finish the form. Boom! You've created a 3D cube. Perspective is an awesome way to add depth to your drawings and make objects look 3D on flat paper. Check out this example. We're not just limited to squares or buildings. You can even draw a person in perspective by starting with a simple box and then adding details. That's why this card is so powerful. It's the perspective card. Ready to move on to the next one? Let's go. All right, let's move on to the next card, which is super popular and super useful. The overlap card. This one's a game changer, so pay close attention and maybe even grab a notebook for notes. Here's the idea. Imagine you've got this card. Now, if we place another card on top of it, and for clarity, we also put a card under it. What happens? Take a look. The card on the left looks like it's underneath the middle card, so it feels like it's farther away, right? Meanwhile, the card on the right looks like it's on top, so it feels closer to us. That's the magic of overlap. It's a simple trick to create depth on a flat sheet of paper. And it doesn't stop at cards. You can do the same thing with balls, or pretty much any other shape. This card is super important for making your drawings pop, and that's why we call it the overlap card. Let's keep things rolling and jump to the next one. All right, let's talk about the next trick in our toolbox. Foreshortening. This one's super simple, probably the easiest card of the bunch. Just take a minute and focus. Imagine you're looking at a book. Pay attention to its length and width, how it looks straight on. Now, if you tilt that same book to the side, what happens? It looks much smaller, right? The same goes for a cube. Look at it from the front, then tilt it, and suddenly its shape and dimensions change. It looks more 3-dimensional. That's what foreshortening is all about. It's when an object's appearance changes depending on the angle you're viewing it from. For example, a car might look long and flat from one perspective, but by changing how you draw its parts, you can make it pop off the page and look 3D. Here's the key takeaway. By changing how an object is viewed or drawn, distorting its general shape, you create a sense of depth and make it feel three-dimensional. That's the magic of foreshortening. All right, now let's move on to the fifth and final card, the atmosphere card. Take a look at this image. At first glance, it might seem like it's all about perspective since the lines of the objects meet at a single point. But this card is a little different. It's all about air and atmosphere. Here's how it works. The farther away an object is, the more it starts to fade. You can see this happening in the image. The objects that are farther away lose their clarity and sharpness. This effect is caused by the atmosphere, and it's a powerful way to add depth to your drawings. By making things fade as they recede, you can create the illusion of distance, almost like your flat paper has transformed into a deep three-dimensional world. That's the magic of the atmosphere card. Oh, and one super important point. If you want to know about most critical card from this video, mean perspective 1, 2, 3, and 4, make sure to check out that video. My name's Mobin, and don't forget to subscribe.